Have you ever felt like you're living two completely different lives? What if I told you that the entire idea of perfect work-life balance is actually a myth? Today, we're going to explore something much more powerful than balance. We're going to discover how to create a life where work and personal time don't fight each other, but actually make each other stronger. Section 1. The Great Juggling Act. Understanding what balance really means. Let's start with a story that might sound familiar. It's Monday morning, and Sarah is already answering emails before her feet hit the floor. By lunch, she's had 3 meetings, missed her workout, and grabbed fast food while walking between appointments. By evening, she's too tired to cook, too wired to relax, and too guilty to enjoy the little free time she has. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Sarah isn't failing at balance. She's actually succeeding at something completely different. She's succeeding at what our society taught her to do: treat work and life like they're in a boxing match with only one winner. But here's what's fascinating about human history. For thousands of years, work and life weren't separate things. A farmer didn't clock out of farming at 5 p.m. A blacksmith's workshop was often attached to their home. The idea that we should split our lives into neat little boxes, that's actually pretty new. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. Suddenly, we had factories with whistles and time clocks. Then came the digital age, and now we carry our offices in our pockets. Our brains, which evolved over millions of years to handle simple, natural rhythms, are now trying to manage constant notifications, back-to-back video calls, and the pressure to be always on. And we wonder why trying to achieve perfect work-life balance feels like trying to herd cats while riding a unicycle. Here's the first big secret. Perfect balance doesn't exist. The idea of a 50-50 split between work and personal time isn't just unrealistic, it's actually harmful. Think about it. Some days you might have a big project that needs extra attention. Other days your family needs you more. Some seasons of life are about building your career. Others are about slowing down and enjoying what you've built. Instead of perfect balance, what if we aimed for something better? What if we aimed for harmony? Like a jazz musician who knows when to play loudly and when to play softly, we can learn when to lean into work and when to lean into life. But here's what makes this even more interesting. Scientists have been studying our brains during chronic stress, and what they've found is pretty scary. When we're constantly trying to juggle too many things, our brain chemistry actually changes. The parts of our brain responsible for decision-making start to shut down. We become less creative, less able to solve problems, and ironically, less productive at work. This means that taking care of your personal life isn't selfish. It's actually essential for being good at your job. And here's something else that's fascinating. Different cultures around the world have completely different ideas about work and personal time. In some countries, taking a long lunch break with colleagues is considered essential for building work relationships. In others, leaving the office before your boss is seen as disrespectful. Neither approach is right or wrong. They're just different ways of solving the same puzzle. So the first step in creating your own version of work-life harmony isn't about following someone else's rules. It's about understanding what matters most to you right now in this season of your life. Section 2. When life gets messy. The real challenges we face. So now that we know perfect balance is a myth, creating harmony should be easy, right? We just need to be more organized, use better apps, and maybe buy a really nice planner. Because as we all know, the most straightforward solutions are always the first ones we try, right? The truth is, even when we know what we want, life has a way of throwing curveballs. Let me share some of the real challenges that make work-life harmony tricky. First, there's what I call the flexibility trap. Many companies now offer remote work and flexible schedules. Sounds great, doesn't it? But here's what researchers discovered. When companies change their policies without changing their culture, people often end up more stressed, not less. Think about it. If your boss says you can work from home but then expects you to answer emails at 9 p.m., are you really more flexible? If your company offers unlimited vacation days but no one ever takes more than a week off, what message does that send? This is why so many people feel like they're working more hours than ever, even with all these new work-life balance tools and policies. Then there's the technology challenge. Our devices were supposed to make life easier, but they've also erased the boundaries between work and everything else. Your phone buzzes with a work email while you're reading bedtime stories to your kids. A quick check of your laptop turns into an hour of catching up on projects. And let's be honest, how many of us have become archaeologists of our own notifications, digging through dozens of alerts just to find the ones that actually matter? But here's where it gets really interesting. Some people are starting to fight back with what they call digital sanctuary hours, specific times when their devices only do essential functions. No work emails, no social media, no news alerts, just phone calls and texts from family. Others are getting creative with their physical spaces. They're creating what researchers call workspace topography, different areas of their home that trigger different mental states. The kitchen table might be for creative brainstorming. The home office is for focused work. The living room is completely work-free. Then there are the relationship challenges. When you're trying to create better work-life harmony, it affects everyone around you. Your family might need time to adjust to new boundaries. Your colleagues might need to learn new ways of working with you. This is where something called collaboration compacts can be really helpful. Instead of just announcing your new boundaries, you sit down with the important people in your life and create agreements together. What does everyone need? How can you support each other? What happens when someone's needs conflict? And sometimes life throws us real curveballs. A family crisis, a job loss, a health scare. During these times, all our carefully planned systems can fall apart. But researchers who study resilience have found something interesting. People who practice what they call balance fire drills, basically stress testing their boundaries during calm periods, handle real emergencies much better. It's like having an emergency kit for your personal life. You hope you never need it, but when you do, you're ready. Here's something else that makes work-life harmony challenging. We're often trying to solve the wrong problem. We focus on managing our time better, when what we really need to manage is our energy. Some people are naturally more alert in the morning. Others do their best thinking late at night. Some people recharge by being alone. Others need social interaction. The good news? Once you start understanding these patterns, your own personal rhythms and challenges, you can start designing solutions that actually work for your real life, not some perfect life that only exists in productivity blogs. Section 3. Finding your sweet spot. Practical strategies that actually work. All right, so we've talked about why perfect balance is a myth and why creating harmony can be tricky. Now let's get to the good stuff. Strategies that actually work in real life. I once knew a guy who decided to optimize his entire life. He color-coded his calendar, set up automated systems for everything, and even scheduled spontaneous fun time in his planner. 3 weeks later, he was more stressed than when he started because he was spending more time managing his systems than actually living his life. The lesson: the best strategies are usually the simplest ones. Let me share some approaches that real people use to create work-life harmony without needing a PhD in productivity. First, let's talk about something called untouchable days. This is simpler than it sounds. Pick one day a week, or even just a few hours, that are completely protected from work. No checking emails, no quick calls, no thinking about Monday's meeting. This isn't a vacation day, it's a recovery day for your brain. What's fascinating is that people who do this consistently report being more creative and productive during their work time. It's like giving your mental muscles time to rebuild. Now, here's a strategy that might sound backwards. Reverse engineering your balance. Instead of starting with where you are now and trying to improve, start with where you want to be in 20 or 30 years. What does your ideal retirement look like? What relationships do you want to have? What experiences do you want to remember? Then work backwards. If you want to be close to your grandchildren someday, what kind of relationship do you need to build with your own children now? If you want to travel the world when you retire, what skills and savings do you need to develop? This isn't about sacrificing your present for your future. It's about making sure your daily choices are actually leading you toward the life you want. Some people take this even further with something called themed work days. Maybe Mondays are for creative projects, Tuesdays for meetings and communication, Wednesdays for deep focus work. This reduces what scientists call task-switching fatigue, the mental energy you lose every time you jump between different types of activities. But let's talk about something even simpler: micro-sabbaticals. These are 90-minute breaks during your workday where you do something completely different. Take a walk in nature, draw or paint, play an instrument, read fiction. The key is choosing something that uses different parts of your brain than your work does. Researchers have found that these breaks don't just help you relax, they actually make you more innovative and better at solving problems when you return to work. Now, here's a strategy that might surprise you: the enthusiasm audit. For 1 week, rate every task you do on a scale of 1 to 10 based on how excited you are to do it. Don't try to change anything yet, just notice. You might discover that certain types of work energize you while others drain you. You might realize that some personal activities feel like chores while others feel like treats. This information becomes incredibly valuable when you're making decisions about how to spend your time and energy. For those dealing with the challenges of hybrid work, sometimes in the office, sometimes at home, there's something called boundary code switching. This means developing different mental frameworks for different environments. Maybe when you're at home, you focus more on collaborative work and creative thinking. When you're in the office, you tackle administrative tasks and in-person meetings. And here's something that might sound selfish but is actually essential: calculating your minimum viable me time. Just like a business needs to know its break-even point, you need to know the minimum amount of personal time you need each week to feel like yourself. For some people, it's 30 minutes of reading each day. For others, it's a 2-hour bike ride on weekends. This isn't about being rigid, it's about knowing your non-negotiables so you can be flexible with everything else. Finally, let's talk about something researchers call anticipatory regret analysis. Before making decisions about how to spend your time, imagine yourself looking back from the future. Will you regret missing your child's school play for a meeting that could have been rescheduled? Will you regret not taking that promotion because it would mean less family time? There's no right answer, only what's right for you in this season of your life, given your values and goals. The key is making conscious choices instead of just reacting to whatever seems most urgent in the moment. Section 4. The future of work and life. What's coming next? Before we wrap up, let's talk about something exciting: how work-life harmony might evolve in the coming years. You've probably heard about the 4-day workweek experiments happening around the world. Companies are discovering something fascinating. When people work fewer hours, they often get just as much done, but with less stress and better health. But here's the interesting part: it's not just about working fewer days, it's about working more intentionally. Some researchers are even proposing ideas like universal basic balance, policies that would guarantee everyone a minimum amount of personal time, just like we currently guarantee minimum wages. And as artificial intelligence takes over more routine tasks, we're facing an interesting choice. Do we use that extra productivity to work even more, or do we use it to reclaim time for the things that make us human? Relationships, creativity, rest? Some companies are already experimenting with what they call automation dividends. When AI makes a process more efficient, employees get to use that saved time for professional development, creative projects, or simply shorter workdays. But perhaps the most interesting development is how different generations are approaching work-life harmony. Younger workers are creating reverse mentorship programs where they teach older colleagues about new technologies and flexible work styles while learning about career strategy and life balance from people who've navigated different seasons of life. There's also growing recognition that work-life harmony isn't just an individual responsibility. It requires changes in company culture, government policy, and social expectations. We're starting to see grief-informed productivity policies that help people adjust their work during personal crises, and portfolio career buffers that help workers develop multiple income streams for security. Some people are even experimenting with what they playfully call the anti-productivity manifesto, periods of intentional underachievement where the goal is rest, reflection, and rediscovering what actually matters to them. The future of work-life harmony isn't about finding one perfect system that works for everyone. It's about creating flexible frameworks that can adapt to different people, different life stages, and different circumstances. Conclusion and call to action. So here we are at the end of our journey together. We've explored why perfect balance is a myth, why creating harmony can be challenging, and what strategies actually work in real life. Remember, work-life harmony isn't about splitting your time equally. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values and goals. It's about understanding your own rhythms and needs. And it's about being kind to yourself when life gets messy, because it will. So here's my question for you. If you could change just one thing about how you currently balance work and personal life, what would it be? Take a moment to think about that. Maybe it's setting clearer boundaries with technology, Maybe it's having an honest conversation with your family about what everyone needs. Maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to rest without feeling guilty. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What work-life harmony strategies have you tried? What's worked for you and what hasn't? Your experiences might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you found this exploration helpful, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the topics that affect how we live and work. Until then, remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next small step toward a life that feels more like yours.